Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bangladesh and the World podcast, brought to you by the Bangladesh America Alliance. I'm Mainul Haque, and you're tuning in for our episode 18. Today's episode takes on a topic that many of you have asked us to cover: Bangladesh capital market, current situation, and opportunities. You can follow us on X or Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and just search us at BDUS Alliance to stay updated on our upcoming shows. Joining us today are two distinguished guests, Mr. Saiful Islam, President of the Dhaka Stock Exchange Broker Association, and Mr. Shakil Rizvi, Managing Director of Rizvi Fashion Limited and a veteran leader in Bangladesh's capital market. Moderating today's discussions are Kawsar Chowdhury from Bangladesh America Alliance and Munaf Mojib Chowdhury, founder of Ekshate Foundation and head of brand and communication at Exentech PLC. Over the past few months, we have received a wave of messages from our audience urging us to take a closer look at the stock market in Bangladesh. With investors' confidence at the lowest point and structural issues plugging the system, it's evident that the market is in distress. But amidst the crisis, there may still be room for hope and opportunities for reform. In today's episode, we break down what's going wrong, what's working, if anything, or what can be done to rebuild a stronger and more transparent capital market. Whether you're an investor, policymaker, or just curious about where the economy is headed, this episode is for you. This will be the first of series of conversation we'll have on capital market in Bangladesh. Before we dive into the conversation, here is a quick introduction to two of our guests. Mr. Saiful Alum is the president of Dhaka Stock Exchange Broker Association, also known as DBA, for for between 2024 to 2025, and director of BRAC EPL Stock Brokerage Limited. Mr. Islam is a seasoned voice in the capital market. He has served as director and senior vice president of DSC Dhaka Stock Exchange and is a strong advocate for market reform, regulatory transparency, and strengthening DSC's role in IPO approvals. He also represents Bangladesh internationally, including at the Asian Securities Forum in Tokyo. Mr. Mohammed Shakil Rizvi, a veteran in Bangladesh capital market since 1987. Mr. Rizvi played a major role in modernizing the DSE and integrating it with global platforms like the World Federation of Exchanges. He served as president, vice president, and director of the DSE and has led several market institutions. He's currently managing director of Rizvi Fashions Limited, a 100% export-oriented garment factory, Shakil Rizvi Stock Limited, and Shakil Rizvi Asset Limited, significantly contributing to the country's export economy. With that, I hand over to Kawsar Chaudhary, our host, to start the conversation.
Thank you very much, Mainul, and thank you very much for to both of you for making time for us. I am very sure that you're very busy people, so we really appreciate that you could make this time. And so I would like to right away start with my first question, which is the Dhaka Stock Exchange has faced significant challenges, notably the 2010-11 crash. In your view, what were the primary factors that led to the crisis, and what lessons do you believe have or haven't been learned since then?
Thank you very much. Can I take the question?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having us today. So, to begin with, I should say that, we all know that what had happened to this country in the last 15, 16 years. So in 2010, we had a crash in the stock market. Technically it was the second crash, but the first crash we had was in 1996 and then again in 2010. And since then, unfortunately, that in 1996, right after the crash, what we have seen that ADB, Asian Development Bank, came forward, the World Bank came forward with a lot of reforms, right? So in 4 years' time, the market went back to its normal speed. From 2000 onwards, we have seen the foreign investors were coming back. And the market took a shape from 2000 or 2001 to 2010. unfortunately, what had happened in 2010, I mean, we had an election, as you all know, in 2009, and the new government came in power. And in 2010, we experienced this repetition of what had happened in 1996. But the difference between 96 and 2010, that after 1996, we have seen the multilateral came forward with the reform package. ADB came with, like, say, 80 million US dollar technical assistance, which was given to the government for the improvement of the improvement and the reforms of the capital market. And we did actually have a lot of reforms starting from the CTPL. But in 2010, that was not the case. So the government took the responsibility to reform the market. But as we all know, that everything was politicized during the last government, and the capital market was not an exception, including the Dhaka Stock Exchange. So what they did, first and foremost, like, say, 2012, they came up with the idea that they need to demutualize the stock exchanges. All actually accepted the idea, because, as you know, in the global platform, all the stock exchanges are now mostly demutualized. There are 2 or 3 stock exchanges still mutualized. So Dhaka Stock Exchange, I'm not talking about Chittagong because we are representing Dhaka Stock Exchange. So Dhaka Stock Exchange was mutualized up until 2013. And the 2013, the government came up with 2 ideas. One was the Demutualization Act, and the other one was Demutualization Scheme. So we appreciated the idea. We took the formula that was given by the government. And then what happened that, just to let you know, that the board structure of the Dhaka Stock Exchange was 24 members. Out of 24, 12 members were from the brokers community, and 12 members were the representative from different apex bodies, like, say, FBCCI, Dhaka Chamber, Metropolitan Chamber, a prof from the Dhaka University, a joint or additional director from the Ministry of Finance, an executive director or deputy governor from the central bank. So it was a great combination and balanced board. But since the demutualization happened, so the structure has been changed, and now it is 4 directors from the stock exchange or brokers community and 7 independent directors. So that was also welcome, that, okay, fine, the board or the stock exchange will be more independent. But then soon we realized that the 7 independent directors were chosen from the political alliance. You know what I mean? So yes, we had the profs from the Dhaka University or from other universities and other professionals, but they were all politically aligned. And then they started implementing all the ideas of the government. And we have seen the syndicate exist in the market, like the financial institutions, as we all know, and kind of an access group were running the stock exchanges. Consequently, what we have seen that from 2012 to 2024, so we got around 130 to 40 companies listed on the Dhaka Stock Exchange, and believe it or not, out of 140 listed companies, almost 80% are already found junk. Either they are out of the business, or all the papers they submitted were fabricated. The audit report was totally manufactured. And you see the market conditions, and the people have lost confidence in the market, and this is the biggest crisis for the stock market now, that we have lost the confidence of the investors. So in the last 10 years, we hardly had any good companies listed on the stock exchange, and that is primarily, if you ask me, the most crisis the Bangladesh capital market, that we do not have enough investable stock. So that is what it is. So we are trying to bring reforms. We are trying to get the DC back its power. We are asking to empower the stock exchanges so that they can make their decisions on the listing. And number one. Number two, we are asking the government to list more companies from the state-owned, like say state-owned enterprises, which are owned by the government now, because we need more stocks in the market, and it is not easy for the private companies to bring into the market. So to facilitate or to promote the private entities into the stock market, we have asked for a tax rebate, which has been proposed in the budget recently announced. So hopefully we'll have a reasonable gap between the listed and non-listed companies, so that the non-listed companies will get encouraged to be listed. So this is what the current situation is. And I can say one thing I should say. I mean, I've said all the bad things, but the good thing is that now we can see the interest is coming back from the local and foreign entities. So what you?
So this basically leads me to my next question, which is how do you assess the current level of investor confidence in the Bangladeshi capital market, and what are the key factors contributing to or detracting from it? I believe you answered a bit of that, but if you could expand on that a little more.
Yeah, should I take the question, Shakil bhai, or you'd like to go ahead?
Thank you for inviting me to today's program. Uh, I appreciate the opportunity. And at this moment, investor already left. Most of the investors are already left, and the nowadays the good company also selling in a undervalued price, a good dividend and good P ratio. What Saiful bhai said, in last 15 years, there is a lot of manipulation, regulatory failure, lot of rules and regulation made that is not investor friendly, not in the domestic or international. And the government that time think that if demutualized the stock exchange is happen, everything will okay and no problem over there, and market will go up and up, and the broker are the real problem. If we demutualize, independent director will handle the stock exchange, and that will be the perform the good result. But the demutualized stock exchange, independent director and regulator must be honest and sincere. In the Europe and America, demutualized stock exchange effective because of their independent director, and the regulator are neutral. They are not politically biased or anything. Their institution, they can investor can rely. But our problem is we broker, we try to save the market, but the regulator and the other government parties try to manipulate this market, and they gain from this market. Lot of people come and lot of investors come to the market, and they end of the day they are loser because the product, the IPO are not good. The if anybody buy a share in a high price, if there is a growth in the company, they will recover. But our company is not such a level. That company listed, but they are not such a level to pay out the dividend, and there is a no growth, artificially sale and everything. That's why a lot of companies, I will say around 150 companies are listed. They are not giving any dividend properly. That's why this is the main reason. We can invite the investor, but what we are feeding them, if it is a poison, then nobody will come to see. But we have a lot of good companies also. Now our problem is we are not marketing that company's share also. The investor is shaky about the performance of the regulator. Is regulator nowadays regulator trying to improve their behavior, and regulator must be a neutral, and a stock exchange will run the show, but regulator in this opportunity, regulator making money. That is the big problem. So if we come back to our governance to the stock exchange and regulator uh, as a watchdog, that will be hopeful for the market. And the potential of this market is very high. You know, the economy of Bangladesh next 10 years is will go tremendous growth there will be happen. Export is growing, remittance is growing, and infrastructure development, everything is fine. But if we keep it our regulation investor friendly, and lot of hazard in the regulation also, they contradict each other. If company rules and regulation with the securities regulation, there sometimes there is a conflict. That's why people are shaky. What is going on? What is the regulator doing? If the as a investor, I am also shaky. If the regulator change the next week another rules, what will we tell to our investor? That is the key point. We have to fix our rules and regulation and listed in a good company. The investor will
So,
invest. The, yes.
can I just interject and ask one
Just to
question,
add,
which is
Kasabhai,
yes,
if I can,
yes.
sorry, just to add what Shakil Bhai has said. So what he has said that the investors have led the market, right? So to give you a data, like so we had 3.3 million investors, registered investors a few years back, and now we have less than 1.7 million. So we have lost 50% of the investors. Lost means it's not that they are not investing; they have actually closed their accounts because they have lost their money. So as you know, that there are two things happened. One is that we got bad stocks in the market in the last 10 years, and in addition, because of the financial institutions, banks and NBFIs or leasing companies are looted randomly, so they also got junk in the last 10 years time. At one point, like say if you look back in 2010, that the financial institution used to retain around 35% of the market cap, but now they are retaining around 15-18%. It is because other than very few banks, maybe 5 or 6 banks and maximum 4 NBFIs, all are junk. The people are trying to get rid of the shares because they don't know the future
Totally.
of the as I mean the NBFIs. So we had 35 NBFIs, and I think within next 1 year you'll see maximum 10 will exist, and 25 NBFIs fate is in question. We really don't know what would happen to them, and same goes for the banks. So the reforms are being taken place. So we need to see good things. So these are the consequence of what you see the stock market condition today. And in addition, that what Shakil Bhai said, the regulator or the governance. In the last 10 years, the BSEC, which was a great institution up until 2010, but since then we have seen the degradation of the ethics in the BSEC territory. So that is a big issue for the market. But now, we got a new set of BSEC people. Things are being reformed. Hopefully, within the next 6 months, I see that
My next question actually, Saiful Bhai, will be on the BSEC. But I just wanted to ask you a new question, which is not in my list of questions. Both of you talked about independent directors, right? So,
yes.
what was the hierarchy when Damuli came and they instituted this, these independent directors? So, how was the whole system working? And so we get to realize that where actually they intentionally caused the mistake, right? So, what was the role of these independent directors, and how did they go around playing this cat and mouse game with us? Can you just explain that to us in a short format?
Sure. Like say, whenever you say independent, right, and it implies that the person who has been chosen as an independent director, he will play a very neutral role. He will take care of the interest of the market, the investors, the market intermediaries, and the companies, and also the stock exchange. But the unfortunate event that what had happened since 2013, all the independent directors chosen were somehow connected with the party itself. So when they came in the board, so all the decisions were taken from a political interest, political point of view, political perspective, and political lobby. So 7 directors came from the independent side, 4 were from the stock brokers. So they were the majority, including the chairman. So that was the disaster that had happened. The structure is still there, but I mean,
so by default they had the more than 60% of the votes anyway, so they could do whatever they wanted, right? That's what I wanted to understand. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And, can I add with Saiful Bhai something about independent? The independent director in other countries, they know about the capital market, and the seat of 7 directors. If these guys nothing to, they are educated person, they have no knowledge about the capital market. So the discussion, we people not to educate them about the capital market. It is not too much time to educate. And when the new independent director come and he like to understand what is going on, it is another problem. And another point is the selection of the independent director by regulator. That's why if regulator before 10 years before or 15 years before, the regulator what decide, these independent are not independent. They cannot challenge with the regulator. The you regulator, you doing these rules, it is a injustice. It's not a fair. They can't speak. They can't challenge with the regulator. That is the failure of the independent director, I think. Then independent director can say both broker and at the same time he can speak with regulator also. He can challenge, but they are approved by the regulator. That's why they say they always yes sir. This is the intention of the independent director. Okay. One point is lack of education, lack of knowledge of capital market. They are educated people. They are professors.
No, you need expertise. That's it. You need expertise, right? I
Yes.
can be a PhD as a doctor, medical doctor, but that doesn't make me, an expert in high tech, AI. So you have to, if I
But
get sick, I
if
have
you
to go to
have
a
a
medical
doctor, if
doctor.
you have some idea about market, that is okay.
Right.
But if you have zero idea, that is the big problem.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
And who gonna teach you to the
You don't have time to teach, not when you're playing with billions of and trillions of taka involved, right? Okay, so
yes.
this is what I said. So we were, the next question was organically coming about the SEC. So the question is, in a market often criticized for weak governance and transparency, how do you see the SEC and members' roles in upholding or promoting ethical conduct and robust governance practices? Now, this means going forward, how do you perceive that to be?
Well, first of all, what we have been asking that when we ask for a reform, then we should go, with a formula. Formula in the sense that, like, say, if you look at Japan, Japan, they have the, Japanese Securities and Exchange Commission, and they have the stock exchanges, and they have other clearing houses. They have central depository, along with they have, a regulatory body, which a self-regulatory organization (SRO), to regulate the market intermediaries. So what happened in Japan or even in the other countries? So when you have an SRO for the market intermediaries, the BSEC only looks into the high-level stuff. Like, say, they think about 5 years, 10 years down the line, what they would like to see the stock market. So They are aligned with the country's fiscal policy, monetary policy, and they come up with the rules and regulation, looking at the other part of the world, with the new product, like say crypto. There may be a lot of discussions on and about crypto. Even Pakistan has adopted crypto, but in Bangladesh, we don't have a product like derivatives. Crypto is long way to go. So this is what the role of the BSEC should be. That what are the new products they would like to bring in, So the regulations are not there. So even like say the merchant banks, investment banks, the stockbrokers, they would like to pursue and bring new product. The BSEC is not helping us because they are bogged down with the very pretty stuff. Like say they are busy with inspection, so they love to go for the inspection. But this is not what we would like to see that BSEC is busy with. So, and that is the reason we are asking for a SRO in between the BSEC and stock exchanges, and also to empower the stock exchanges, because the stock exchanges are the primary regulators. They should first step in to ensure the governance. They should look into the details of a company when it is being proposed for listing. So we'd like to come up with the layers. The SEC should be far away. In between, the primary governance should be done by the stock exchanges and the SRO. And for the high-level stuff, for anything goes wrong or the big compliance issues, of course, the case should be referred to the BSEC. So these are the real reforms we would like to see, but unfortunately, it's our discussion is going nowhere. So there is a big gap between what you like to see, what you want, and what understanding of the regulators.
So,
So,
Bert, can you just explain? Sorry about that. You mentioned an acronym SRO. What does that, in your context, what does that
self-regulatory
mean?
organization. So
Sorry?
it self-regulatory organization.
Okay. Just so that the audience can understand, because it's also the first time I'm hearing.
What we are
So now
saying,
they will understand.
so what we are saying that we have the stock exchanges, but stock exchanges can regulate only the stock brokers. But we have other market intermediaries, like say we have investment banks or merchant banks, we have asset management companies, we have the venture capital, we have private equity, we have credit tradings. So what we are saying that let us come up with an idea like what we have seen in Japan. Japan has the same model. So with all the all the market intermediaries, they form an SRO to regulate the market intermediaries, but not for the big, high ticket crime. When the high ticket crime is seen, then it is referred to the BSEC for the enforcement, or back to the stock exchanges. So BSEC can busy, like say BSEC has like say less than 300 people. From top to bottom, right? So it's not enough for a stock market of our size. So what we are, asking that you concentrate on the market development. Of course, you are the regulator, you'll regulate us, but at the same time, you should first come up with the market development and act as a facilitator, because the market has not gone anywhere in the last 15 years and it's not going anywhere. So this is what we are trying to emphasize, that be a market developer, be a facilitator, and then you regulate. At the same time, you keep on regulating. There is no question of compliance or governance issue. But at the same time, you come up with another SRO to regulate the market intermediaries and along with the stock exchanges. So this is the main reform that we would like to pursue.
I believe our stock exchange, even though we have a bigger GDP than Pakistan, our stock exchange in ratio is far smaller than theirs. And I think everything that you have explained to us till this point points directly to this reason is why we are such a smaller one, right? My next question is very much in line to, first of all, I'd like to say that I need to thank you again for inviting me to that seminar the other day. That really opened my eyes quite a lot. And I actually went and I met Dr. Debapriyo for another reason, but he was kind enough to give me his entire speech. based on which I actually wrote an essay. I don't know if you got a copy of the essay, but I'll send it to you if you haven't. I'll send it to both of you, and maybe you can send me some corrections and I'll resubmit it again. But anyways, I really liked what Professor Debapriyo had said, and that really stuck quite a few nerve cells in my brain, and that's what made me write that essay. But going to the question now, is that the Center for Policy Dialogue has consistently highlighted a culture of impunity in the market. What specific steps do you think are necessary to dismantle this culture and ensure accountability for market abuse? And I would like to repeat that Dr. Debapriyo, throughout that entire speech of his, repeatedly mentioned this point.
Well, I mean, this is also a, I mean, very valid issue that we have been pursuing since August last year. That you cannot let the people go with all the things that they did in the stock market in the last 15, 17 years. So what we asked was to form an inquiry committee or proof committee, whatever you call it, and then they should look into the details of what had happened in the stock market since 2010 to 2024. We had the same sort of committee back in 2010, led by Mr. Ibrahim Khaled, and we also had the same sort of committee after the 1996. So you need a special committee to actually figure out what went wrong, and then it's not for the trial only or bringing the people into a trial process. You also need it for a lesson learned, that we should know what had happened, what were the role of the regulators, what were the role of the market intermediaries, the listed companies, the stock exchanges, for the future generation. At the same time, the committee should come up with the proposition that how they would like to punish the wrongdoers. So, well, there are some fines that we have seen the PSEC has imposed, but that's not enough, because the market has been systematically, I would say, destroyed. It's not, one case or one-off case. It has been the case for 10 years. This is the interest of this country to investigate that actually what had happened. So I'm fully aligned to what Dr. Debapriyo Bhattacharya has proposed in his presentation.
Another point I like to add,
Please.
please. The market, around 40% stock is leasing company and bank and mutual fund, around 40%. If this regulator is not BSEC, actually it is a control by Bangladesh Bank. The audit report are given well and good, and they are paying dividend, stock dividend that time, but they are not making profit. They are losing. Bank are taking the capital from the borrowing the money. So that's why this effect of this price of the share, now everything is disclosed, how much money gone from the bank. That's why the price is go down. If the bank price all are 40 or 50 and 60, the index will be 7,000 or 40% stock is going to under 10 taka or 5, 6, 7. But who are the real culprit of this bank and leasing and mutual fund? This destroy the another leg of the market. One leg is destroyed by the uh, non-performing company, one side, and one side is a bank and leasing company. So some few banks are doing good. They are giving dividend properly. A few multinational company and few Bangladeshi company also paying dividend, but their percentage is so poor to other companies are not doing good, and the I like to highlight the financial company. Those are listed in Dhaka Stock Exchange. BSEC is not regulating them. And Dhaka Stock Exchange just a post office, and they are giving information of dividend and the price, and they are insider of this company. What is happening? The Dhaka Stock Exchange even know anything, and I don't know BSEC can understand what is going on last 10 years in the bank. Some group of companies take a lot of money from the bank, and the defaulter case nowadays we are see the lot of money go away. That's why if we talk about the capital market, they are the part of the capital market. If we ignore them and we are talking about capital market will go up, why not it is down, why it is going down? Because 40% capital is already under high risk. This is my point. I don't know Devopriyo sir address this point or not.
I'll have to go back and
So,
check
by,
the paper.
so by, if I
Sorry.
if I may add here, like say
Yes.
when I say that the market has been systematically destroyed, just to give you an example. So the other day, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a press conference organized or by the ICAP, Institute of Chartered Accountant of Bangladesh, and what they said, they are compelled to sign the audited report. From a political pressure. This is if this is the level of the professional compromise, and how could you expect that we'll have a, good stock market in the country? Because we all knew the banks were looted. We all knew the NBFIs were looted, the insurance companies, the life insurance companies, the asset management companies. But if you look back, since 2010, 11, 12 until 2024, the audited reports were so rosy. No problem with any of the banks that now we see are going down the drain. And the auditors didn't raise any issue on the zero provisioning. And they're also responsible. It's not that the people ensuring a good stock market, good governance in the market. Uh, I would say most of us have professionally compromised. So these are the things that need to be pointed out.
I will just interject something. I just finished writing an essay on the finance companies, the NBFIs, and I think it'll be published tomorrow, and I'll share that with both of you. And because I'm also doing some advocacy work with one of the companies where I lost a lot of money, so we are trying to get the money back. And I saw the reports how established some of the most respectable group of companies in Bangladesh, taking 40-50 crore taka loan from NBFI without any collateral, just a letter saying that we will honor this. And we couldn't even, the new management cannot even find what the interest rates that were given to them. It is so bad. It is so bad. So how are you going to get the money back from this type of organizations? It is just unbelievable to me, the amount of corruption that has happened in the last 16 years. It is so depressing because, because I'm working there, I'm trying to, I'm getting this information. And this is so, it makes me so sad that so many people will not get their money back. So many people will not get their money back. So saying this, I'm going to go into my next question, and that is why I brought this small example up. And the question is, what is the importance of investor education in developing a healthy capital market? And how do you believe it can mitigate some of the historical problems?
Well, we have a lot of scheme for the investors awareness, investors educations, which are all good. We have two institutions. One is the government institution, Institute of Capital Market, and the other one is the Academy, Bangladesh Capital Market Academy, which is run by the BSEC. And along with all the market intermediaries, have compulsion to arrange some investors awareness programs. So these are all good, no issue, and this will continue, right? But the thing is that what we need to see is to have good companies in the market. The stocks, when you buy the stocks, you buy the product. So you need to have good product in the market. Wherever you go, in any of the markets, if the product is not good, you will not go back. It's a very simple proposition. So unfortunately, the product that we have,
shouldn't be there some sort of education for these investors that look, that if you're going to buy into a company, look at their performance ratios. There's so many things that that maybe some educational YouTube videos could even help.
Basic education is given to the investors. As of right, the basic educations are given to the investors. So it's a continuous process. It has been going on for last many years. So as far as the investors' education is concerned, we are not lagging behind. So we have good number of people who knows what is the stock market. But when they come to invest in the stock market and they get their money lost, so the education will not help them until and unless we bring good stock in the market. So the main issue is the product itself.
The quality of the product should be there. That should be ensured. And that is the responsibility of the SEC to ensure 100%. The good quality product.
There should not be any compromise on the quality.
I think I like to add with Saiful bhai. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
The education of a retail investor, obviously it is required, but at the same time, the society also know what is the stock market. It is and our educated people sometimes doesn't know how it is worked. They think it is like a item, it will go up every day and there is no downfall size. It is the perception. And another thing is the Saiful bhai said, if a educated investor sometimes give me complaint, the rosy picture given last 3 years, why this company going nowhere and bankrupt. That is the big problem. We cannot explain to the investor. The basic fundamental, at last we see in the one day before, the talking about the auditor. This is the fundamental. Nobody will question about this reason. The audited report, if it is a good and we can understand, and most of the people are understand this is the final and it is the true picture of the company. But 90% true, that is okay. But it is a totally fake. That is big problem for the investor. I think the basic fundamental is audit report. And if we see the Japan, the foreign investor, a lot of foreign investor coming to the Japan because their number 10 is 10. There is no doubt about this report. But we cannot rely on our number. That is the big problem. If you find out this solution, that will be great helpful for the market. And in India, lot of company listed and they have a growth company. If some investor, if a wrong decision buy in a high price, but the company growth, they will recover their price and they will gain it again after 5 years. But in our country, if you buy a share and go to the outside the country after 5 years, come back, you see this, your company will nowhere and you lost everything. That's why the audit report and growth company, that is too much important. Saiful Bhai say good company listed is very important. At the same time, audit report must be rely to investor. We can focus on these two issues to 10 years roadmap. We can put our stock market, how we can like to see our market. If we change this thing, it is a good hub of investment. I think Dhaka Stock Exchange will become a good hub of investment.
So given these past issues with the low quality IPOs and inflated valuations, what specific measures would you implement or strengthen in the IPO vetting process to protect investors? What do you, both of you think? What would be the best way?
Well, I mean, as we have said that the rules, regulations, and the policies that we have in place are okay. We have issues with the valuation method, and that is being taken care of. I mean, I think the valuation method will be reformed in a month's time. But as far as the, I mean, IPO process, in the sense that the consent is concerned, I would say that the stock exchange should take the lead role. You know, because if you're bringing a company, like say you're a furniture manufacturer, if you are bringing your company for listing, you will be listed either with the Dhaka Stock Exchange or Chittagong Stock Exchange, or both, or with both the stock exchanges, right? So the stock exchange is going to own your stock forever, and they should have the first right of refusal whether your company should get listed or not, whether you have met the required parameters, where the valuation that you are asking is justified, whether I mean your performance, the past performance and going forward, will ensure the return to the investors. I mean, these are the things that the stock exchange should look into, and then they should refer it to the BSEC for the final consent. But I mean, in our country, what we have seen in the last 10 years, that it is on the other way around. So the decision takes first by the BSEC, and then it comes to the stock exchange for listing. So which is very flawed, which is not the right way to do it. So what we are asking even to the government, that the stock exchange should be empowered. They should have the, I mean, at least 60% approval authority, and then they should refer it to the BSEC for the final approval. So if it implements within the next few months, if the BSEC or the government assured us looking into the matter, then we'll see that the good companies or the companies who intend to come are being reviewed by the qualified people working in the stock exchange, by the stockbrokers, by the consulting group from the investment banks, and then it refers to the BSEC for the final approval, and we can ensure that the no bad companies will get listed on the Dhaka Stock Exchange. You know, this is the only way to restrict from bad
The
companies
onus,
coming.
the responsibility, the onus is upon you. You want to make sure that you get a good product, right, rather than the other way around.
Right.
So that was a fantastic reply, Saiful Bhai. So I am going to just go off for now, because I will be letting Munaf be taking the rest of the questions, and in the end I will come back again. So Munaf,
Sure,
I would like to start. Please, you start taking the questions now. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So thank you, Kawsar bhai, and Assalamu alaikum, Saiful bhai and Shakil bhai. So since we're in the middle of the conversation, let me like just jump in with a question. I think both of you have been mentioning about all the different parties that are involved, like all different stakeholders who are involved in making sure this thing works. And it is pretty clear that in the last 15, 16 years, not all the stakeholders for the capital market in Bangladesh probably did not have the same agenda or the same, alignments to deliver a strong capital market in Bangladesh. So that brings me to my question that what would you say is how can we get stronger collaboration between the PSEC, between DSC, CSE, or the brokers or the investors, both the retail investors and the commercial investors? Like how do you really get them together to work towards something? Because I think it is very clear that everyone is probably going in their own agenda and really not serving a purpose to build a capital market.
Well, this is, I would say, the primary responsibility lies with BSEC, because BSEC is the regulator. I mean, we are all out there to work with BSEC, and we have no choice actually. I mean, BSEC is the ultimate regulator, and BSEC is the regulator. So we are all there. The stock exchange is at the, I mean, absolute discretion of the BSEC and BSEC authority. Now, I mean, an environment that what you are referring to is to be created by BSEC. So it's a friendly environment should be there so that you can have free communication with the regulators. I mean, and also the regulators can come back to you with their, I mean, with their advice, with their recommendations, with their, if they see any lacking in the compliance, any governance issues, So the enabling environment situation should be created by BSEC, but of course, we also be there and we are there. And that is what I can say you.
Yeah. So, Shakil bhai, let me
Yes,
get your opinion in this as well, because I feel like definitely the policymaker has a huge role, but is that it, or do you think there are more things to be done?
yes. BSEC, if BSEC cooperate with Dhaka Stock Exchange, Dhaka Stock Exchange can make a 10 years program to future 10 years, what we like to see the capital market and what product we like to introduce. But, but at the same time, the BSEC and the Bangladesh, all the institute like Chartered Accountant Institute and BSEC as a regulator, Bangladesh Bank, Board of Revenue, National Board of Revenue. If all of these party like to make capital market in a great shape, the only Dhaka Stock Exchange can arrange you what you like to say. If they all parties cooperate, Dhaka Stock Exchange may uh, uh, 10 years forecast of the Dhaka Stock Exchange, what we like to see in the 2035 and what is the program. And we have to discuss with the BSEC, we should discuss with the Bangladesh Bank and the Board of Revenue, tax issue. The the decision of the government, that is very important. We can work for that, but if the government is sincere to flourish the capital market, it will be change. Next 10 years, it will be the half of the investment, and the Bangladesh become a great investment climate. But we should work together each other, and the if frequently regulation change, if frequently law and order change, this the level playing field is disturbed. Political party comes and go, new political party will come, doesn't matter. But our institute must be government institute must be fair and neutral. That we accept. That will be change the Bangladesh investment climate. If our institute work like a institute, not a political party, that will
Yes.
they change this environment. I think so.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
So, Shakil bhai,
if I may add
yes.
here. So what Shakil Bhai has said is the inconsistency of the policies. So that is, I mean, that is not a, I mean, investment and investors friendly situation when you keep on
Yeah.
changing the rules and regulation without prior notice. you know. So this is a big problem in our country. Second is, I mean, to address what you have asked for. So we, the like said, Dhaka Stock and Brokers Association, right? So we keep on arranging. Number one, that we keep on advocating the good governance, the best market practice, the compliance issues, the auditing issues, the role of the market intermediaries, the regulatory reforms, the stock exchange, empowering the stock exchanges. So these are common things that we have been doing. And in addition, like say, just for your information, on this 25th of June, we are going to arrange a discussion on the current state of the stock market or capital market. And we are bringing all the market intermediaries. We have invited the special assistants to the chief advisor, Dr. Anasarjaman Chowdhury, to chair the meeting. And we are bringing the BSEC chairman as a special guest. We are bringing the CTBL chairman. We are bringing the ICB chairman. We are bringing the president of the Foreign Investors Association. Then we are bringing the chairman of the Listed Companies Association, the Merchant Banks Association, also all the market intermediaries on this 25th of June. So it's an open discussion, that how could we help each other? I mean, how can we bring the confidence bank into the market? So these are the things that we keep on doing regularly every month, or twice in a month. And as you have asked, so I'm just letting you know that we'll have the next program on the 25th. So it's a continuous process that we are doing, and at the same time, we would expect that the BSEC will do the same role, and also the stock exchanges.
No, so Saiful bhai, this is a great initiative, and to be honest, like this also does a very, like your answer does a very good segue to my next questions, because we also really want to understand more about the brokers, because at the end of the day, for a capital market to really do well, the brokerage, how it's being done, or the companies, or everyone who's working in this sector. So we also want to really learn more about how you are contributing. So this is a great example of how you're contributing. But then again, we have seen so many misconducts in the last few years, right? Which has kind of like really destroyed the market. So we want to like understand a bit more, like how can the brokers like step in here? What can you do, or organizations who are, the brokerage, who are managing the funds, who are getting the investors interested? But whenever there's a misconduct happening, what is really the process that is out there currently that investors can get some sort of like, okay, because there are so many different parties who are involved here. We understand the government policies needs to be done well, but whenever there is a misconduct sort of a thing, then like what are the kind of roles that the brokers are playing, like, or
Okay.
can play, like?
Okay. I mean, let me tell you about another misperception or conception, whatever you say. So the brokers, number one, in Bangladesh, do not manage the fund. So if you look at the issues that have happened in the last 10 years in our market, three brokerage firms or brokerage companies were found involved, or I would say found guilty in the misappropriation of clients' fund.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of the totality, the amount was very insignificant. So I'm not defending my brokers community. I said that the brokers do not have access to the client's fund. I mean, the arrangement is as such. But unfortunately, the fund was misappropriated by the asset managers. That is the real problem, and that has led to a situation where the mutual fund industry has never grown in our country. This is a serious, I would say, barrier for the market to grow, because we do not have mutual fund industry, we do not have good asset managers. And also, if when I say that out of 150 listed companies, 60-70% companies already went junk. And who are the people responsible? It was the investment bank who brought the IPOs. It was the auditors who signed the audited financial statement. So I mean, like say, if you look at the total crisis from 1 to 100, the brokers were liable for 10%, and the 90% were for the other market intermediaries. But I mean, of course, at the end of the day, we have to take the heat, because if anything goes wrong, we all suffer, and that is what is happening in our market. So the people, like say, the crisis had happened in our market. Funds were misappropriated. The bad companies were listed. The mutual fund industry were also looted by a few so-called asset managers. So everything went wrong. So that we all should take the responsibility. But to answer your question, what we are doing now, we made it very clear that zero tolerance. We are not going to be part of any wrongdoings in the market, whether it is being done by a broker, by a merchant bank, by an asset manager, or even by the regulator. You know, so we have to go for zero tolerance, and this is what the message we have sent to the market, to the regulators, and to the governments, and vice versa. I think the BSEC is also aligned with us now. I mean, at least the new BSEC authority, we can say, uh, will not be the same what we had in the last 15 years' time. So going forward, I can assure you that we will not have bad companies to be listed. We will not have the brokers are involved in the misappropriation. But the other market intermediaries, I cannot guarantee, but we are trying to bring them under the same umbrella. That to take this market to the next level, we all have to commit and act sensibly and reasonably and professionally.
Yep. So, Shakil bhai, do you want to weigh in your thoughts on this question?
Yes, and I add some Saiful Bhai. The
Yeah.
Broker Association of Bangladesh, it is a voluntary. They are not working as a. If anyone become a broker, he is not mandatory to be a member of the Broker Association. We are voluntary associate with the broker association. Some broker still not have a member of the broker association. There is no rule. If a garments exporter, he cannot export their goods without BGMEA membership. But
Right.
here is the broker can trade without without membership of broker association. So this makes sense that the authority uh, does not allow broker association as a semi-regulator or as a association. If nobody will be member, he can trade. So that's why the broker association responsibility is less than nothing. They Saiful by doing lot of things, but it is really appreciate. But it is voluntary. But if he don't, doesn't matter. We broker association, we can make only picnic and festival also. But last time Saiful Bhai said our advisor to the advisor come to the stock exchange and he listened to all of us. That is very important. That is the, I think, the great achievement of Saiful Bhai to make the turn around the stock exchange. I think if if you keep it up, we can lot of things we can change, and some sort of power have to give to the broker association. Otherwise, we expect lot of things from broker association, but we are not giving anything to them. So why they work? Our expectation is totally bogus. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Saiful bhai, do you want to add anything? I thought you wanted to add something.
No, I'm good. What I've said,
Okay.
I think Shakil Bhai has added
Okay.
more, so we are good.
Okay, then let me ask my follow-up question to this. I kind of have like a couple of questions which I wanted to ask. So one is, since Saiful bhai, you have rightly said that, even though like brokers are not probably causing all the problems, that there are other like or like their contribution to the problems is much less compared to the others. But if the system fails, then our entire thing fails, right? So what do you feel, or like I can take both of your questions on like opinions on this. So if there is any misdoings that is happening, so one is you ensure that nothing like this will happen from the
I think
broker's point of view, but what if, hello? Yes. Are you being able to hear my question? Are
It is
you
better
able to hear me?
please
Yeah,
repeat
sorry. Can
again.
you
Yes, let me repeat the question again. Okay. So the question is like, yeah. So the question is, apart from, like playing their own role, what else can brokers do if they spot something unethical that is happening within the system? Like, is there anything that they can do, or they just have to play their part and wait for others to also fall in line?
Sorry, I'm very sorry. I got disconnected from
Yeah,
the
no
connection.
problem.
Can you
Let me
please
let
repeat the
let me ask the
question?
question
I'm very
again.
sorry.
Yes, let me ask the
Shakil
question
bhai,
again.
did you
So,
get the question?
so as you said, like no problem. Well,
Yeah.
let me repeat the question again. So as you were saying, right? Like if even though brokers are not the reason for majority of the problems, but because of the problem of the entire ecosystem, the brokers are, or the entire ecosystem is facing a lot of challenges, right? So you are guaranteeing that, from brokers' point of view, you will
Sorry,
not
I think
engage like
I'm not very sure if my connection is bad or it's not coming through. Can Kaisar bhai
Shakil bhai, are you
step in with the question? Shakil bhai, did you hear what
like
the question was?
Shakil
I
bhai,
am
are you being
hearing.
able to hear the
I am
question?
hearing. I am hearing.
Yeah,
You like to say
let,
our
let
broker
me let
can
me ask the
contribute
yes, yes.
voluntary, but
Like whichever way, because at the end of the day, if the ecosystem is not working, then it's a loss for everyone, right?
Yes, individually, some of us speaking media and everything fine, but not at a group. No one like to involve with tussle, and no one like to be. They have a license. Why they speak shout against some regulator or something? They're silently doing business or like to go home and don't take any risks. If they don't make money, they shift the business. But that's why it is required association. The body can move. An
Yeah,
individual, it is very big problem for a
yeah,
individual broker to challenge the rules and regulation.
understood.
But collectively,
No,
we can all together, we can shout, we can ask why it is happening. I think our voice must be go through by broker association.
no, I think that's a very well made point, bhai. So I will ask one last question before I think we're more than 1 hour now. So I will have one last question before I invite back Kawsar bhai and Mainul bhai in. So both of you were mentioning about all the different portfolios that are not working, right? Though like those are really not the not the good performing stocks, or Saiful bhai, you mentioned quite a few times that the main challenge is with the product. Like education and others are later, the first challenge is with the product. So I just want to understand, like, do you feel we should get into a culture of letting companies that are not doing well fail in the stock exchange, or do you feel this effort of always protecting companies that are even not doing well by injecting funds by especially by the government, like that has a significant impact on losing the investor trust?
Yes, when
Saiful bhai, you're
the
on mute. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Sorry, can
Shakil
you
bhai,
hear me now?
please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my answer is very straight. What I would like to say that we have listing and we also have delisting process. In the stock market, when you invest, you are taking an inherent risk, right? It's an equity market, or even if you invest in bond can also can go wrong. So this is, I mean, this is a risk that I mean we all take when we invest, and then the company can, I mean, go wrong. I mean, the business model could be flawed, or the environment has changed. The business, I mean, the business that you planned is does not exist anymore. It happens. It happens even for the big companies in the world. But I'm not a big fan of rescuing the companies by injecting or investing the public fund. Like say when the banks are not performing, if the banks are looted, we should let them die. I mean, this is a collateral damage. What can you do? And like say we have at least 20 NBFIs are going to declare bankrupt. And I mean, why do you pay the public fund? And I mean, the problem is that this company will not come back. These are gone, these are dead. So we have a lot of companies which we are not doing well. So we need to figure out that how can we let them go. And I mean, listing, delisting, I mean, in the stock market is not uncommon, rather is very common. But I am very much against investing the public fund to rescue the private companies. Private means that even it is listed, it is owned by the individuals or by the shareholders. But I'm not a big advocate of bringing the money from the government system to rescue all these companies. So I mean, this is the risk that we all take in the stock market. We should, I mean, we should be very open about it. And I mean, like say, there are many, I mean, I would say many intellectuals coming up with the ideas that the bank should be rescued by investing money from the central bank. I mean, which is totally wrong. I mean, we should let the bank die so that the investor, this is also part of the investors' education or shareholders' education. When you invest, you should look into into the company where you are investing in. So, I mean, this is a risk, and they should all know about the market risk.
Right. So, Shakil bhai, do you want to add any points to this?
In this regard, I like to say regarding the bank, not leasing company, 12 or 15 leasing company. I am not talking about that. But bank, there is a collateral of this is the non-performing loan. And what is the result? And what is, if you delisted before, or you can delisted this bank before that, we have to know the asset of this bank, the borrower, what asset they keep with the bank, and their other sources of must be taken to the investor money, the depositor money. Those people are involved with this game. Everybody should liable to give this money to the investor and shareholders money, and then it will be closed. That's good, fine. But where is the underlying asset? Where is the money? Who are the real culprit? It must be disclosed in the paper. And who are the authority? Who are the giving authority to give someone 10,000 crore or 15,000 crore? Nobody giving me 200 crore, but no bank will give me. But why these people are taking so much money? Where is the regulator? Where is the guys who's are responsible before the delisting of this bank, before the merging with this bank? We like to see the asset. I think lot of asset behind this borrower. They have lot of asset, but if they we shut down this bank, the asset will go whose pocket? Who will gain it? That must be clear. And then I agree with Saiful Bhai, it must be delisted. But before that, lot of work we have to do. Who are the responsible, and where is the money, and where is the asset? If somebody says the loan taken by a small shopkeeper, he takes 1,000 crore, the asset of this shopkeeper is only 10 lakhs, but beneficiary of this amount, who is this gentleman? And we can find and where their asset in Bangladesh. If it is abroad, we can find also. But the asset of this gentleman must be depositor money. It will be come back and depositor money. And we zero tolerance. If we make it, the overall investment climate will change. Thank you.
So Thank you so much, Shakil bhai, for your points. I think we are really towards the end of the section, so I've invited back Kawsar bhai and Mainul bhai to the floor as well. So, Kawsar bhai and Mainul bhai, let me hand it over to you guys to end with the closing.
Sure, Kausar bhai, why don't you make some closing remarks before we close the episode? You're on mute,
This is
Kausar
more
bhai.
of a. It was more of a. Oh no, I'm not on. Am I on
Now,
mute?
now you're
No,
good.
I just end.
I'm okay. Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to say again that this was just a fantastic. I don't think we had an interview. We had a we had a live discussion, right? And you have enlightened me with some very strong things that I did not know about, especially the issue of the 7 directors and some other very important things. So that I believe that once we release this. The people who listen to our podcast will also be enlightened in so many different ways. So finally, I would like to again thank you, both of you, so much for your time today, and definitely we would like to see you come back again at a later date, after all these conversations with BSEC and the other government stakeholders have been conducted, and maybe we can get an update from you as to how things are proceeding in the near future. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, Kausar bhai. I echo the same sentiment. What Kausar bhai mentioned. This is a fantastic episode on our capital market. This is, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, that this is one of the first series of conversation on Bangladesh Dhaka Stock Exchange, and also Bangladesh capital market. Hope to have you guys join in upcoming episodes again. And please follow us on our X, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at BDUS Alliance for more updates and updates on upcoming episodes and events that we are planning to do. Until then, have a great day.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Can I say one last thing?